Hi there and welcome. I'm Julie Hawkins, the Biz Psychic, and I'm here with.
Tammy Langowski, and welcome this morning. We're here to give you some insights on channeled messages and anything else that Spirit brings up for us. So I'm Tammy Langowski. You can find me at tammy'sintuitive.com. I give channeled readings to your questions, basically work as an intuitive advisor to your questions. And I channel messages that I like to post on my Tammy's Intuitive Services Facebook page and Instagram, also on my website. My latest one you might want to check out was on the topic of frustration that my guide's title, I know, Julie and I were having a little conversation before this began, on frustration. And anyway, you might want to check it out. It's kind of a insightful little message, I think. And I never know what's really coming through till I just open up and do that sort of thing. And I want to start out by saying, Julie and I were talking about this, and then we'll go to your introduction, Julie. This is not my living room. It is a virtual one, but one that I thought was very pleasing to the eye. So here I sit in it, hoping you're enjoying it.
We had a whole conversation about, oh, I love that credenza and the entertainment center in the back.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like I love Tammy's backgrounds. If only I could do them on mine. That's a whole other conversation. So Julie Hawkins, the Biz Psychic, juliehawkins.com, YouTube videos, lots of, private readings. And I do channel as well. That goes on my YouTube channel and is now connected to my website, I'm happy to say. Oh, and I wanted to say it is February.
Gosh, I always have to look at
24th.
23rd. 23rd.
23rd. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
I know. We stumble over the days every time.
It's up on my computer. So it's Tuesday, February 23rd.
Right.
Okay. So as I opened up, and as many of you know, I think Tammy and I probably both work from the same place, or in the neighborhoods, right? We work in the neighborhoods, and I it was kind of an unusual feeling that I didn't feel it, but a perception that I got, and I found it really interesting. So when I channel, I open up my records, generally speaking, but I also open up sometimes the records of the United States, and that's what I did today. And I got it, for lack of better words, sometimes I have to speak about it in order to get all the words to come together and to gel. Um, it was a feeling of chaos, um, in that it's all, but they're showing me the weirdest thing. They're showing me like a dance hall with a lot of couples, people dancing, but instead of dancing together, it's almost like there's zombies just walking around trying to figure out where are they. There's confusion and there's nothing organized about it. It's very interesting.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, asking my guides, what is that about? Because um, I have my records open too, and I mean some of it could be my own perception. No, they're saying no, because I don't really feel confused or chaotic, to be honest with you. Uh, it 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 is the energy of where we're at right now,
Mhm.
and I don't know that it's neither good nor bad. It's simply an energetic. So we'll go from there and give you maybe some guidance about if you can ever relate to, feeling confused or stalled or in a group and you don't know which way to turn or to go. That's what it feels like. They're showing me this dance floor and people are like looking around going, where do I go? So bizarre. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's like just stop. Just stop for a minute, catch your breath, take some deep breaths, and ground. Put your feet to the ground. I'm going to do that right now. Where are you in the moment? And kind of look around you and think, where is it that I want to go? Um, narrowing it down as you do so from, is it my business? Is it my job? Is it my health? Is it my relationships? Is it, the stress of the pandemic, which is ever present, right? Uh, where are you, and where do you feel like you want to go with this? And then just take a nice deep breath, and you know what? Just head out in that direction
Mm.
and see where that leads you. We don't always have to have a clear result or outcome in mind. Sometimes that just really evolves over time, and this is will make sense as to what they're showing me, and why there's confusion and chaos and we don't know where we're going, because sometimes we just don't know where we're going.
Mhm.
So pick a place that feels most priority, high up on the priority list for you at this moment in time, whatever moment in time you see this, and think about what's important about it, and go from there. Yeah.
Love that.
Oh, I feel better.
That was a great message. That's why you feel better. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, so true, Julie. So I was trying to, when you were talking about the chaos, I was kind of zoning in on that myself, to see what we were kind of getting with that. And I agree with you. It's like you said, people kind of walking around, not really sure, where they're going. So that was great advice, what you and your guides just gave. Thank you for that, because it is really important to be grounded and kind of, yeah, because like you were saying, going in a direction. Our guides will often talk about, if you find yourself in a box, you got to step in out of the box in one direction or another, right? You need to step out and go in one direction. If you find you don't like that direction, step back in the box and pick another direction. um, and along with that, what I was getting is, for me anyway, what I was also receiving was the separation. So these, like you said, I'm using that metaphor, that analogy, that visual of the people, kind of walking around, like not knowing what to do, zombies kind of thing, right? And they're saying part of the problem is too, is we're stepping into too many people's energy. We're too attached, you know what I mean, like to other people's stuff, um, taking on their energy or putting our energy into them because we think we know what they're doing. So we're saying, along with all the wonderful advice that was just given, we're just tagging on to that also make sure that you are being very conscious of your own space, which follows the idea of grounding and making sure that you're grounded and so forth. Because it is very easy to follow a crowd just because you think, well, I don't know where I'm going, so who's going to follow this guy? Energetically, people do that all the time. We've all been guilty of doing it, and being followed as well. So we would remind you, along with what was said, to protect your energy as well every morning, and the dust will settle. That's what they're saying, right? We've been saying that, and we've been getting that, all of us. All right, Julie and I have, that the dust eventually will settle. It's pretty obvious that it will, but most likely, but I feel like it's going to. So yeah, I would say, yeah, that it's great. That was a great message. And to just make sure that you're being aware of how much you're investing in somebody else's energy right now. And do you need to pull back? So
Great message as well. So yes, thank you, and thanks for tagging on to that. It does
absolutely.
it feels lighter just hearing that. So I hope that it feels that way for others who
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because yeah, that lightening, that feeling of feeling lighter is about your, what's the words I'm looking for? You're resonating with that message. And so when you resonate with it, then you feel it, and that's what you're feeling sometimes, when you get that kind of feeling. So that's a great thing.
true enough. All right.
Yeah.
Do we feel good with that? Is there anything else going? I think you said you had something you wanted to
Yeah.
share.
Trying to remember what I was going to share, but but one thing that did come up with me, a little bit, as far as like a topic a little bit, was intolerance. intolerance of other people, intolerance. So when I open up to that, they said, we mean specifically when to tolerate somebody, when you feel you need to tolerate, which is interesting about our conversation prior, which of course I won't talk about, but what we were just talking about, Julie, before we started recording, when to tolerate somebody or somebody's behavior and when not to. And I was thinking that when you're telling me about that's funny because it had been a topic they'd given me, and just to be mindful that, yes, is it of a somewhat higher order, they're saying, to be tolerant? In some ways, yes, because we can be respectful of somebody else's energy. However, of course, just as important is to respect ourselves and our boundaries and what is important to us. So it's a fine line, isn't it? The guides just said it's a fine line. It takes practice to really know when to step out of that or when to be more patient, we'll say, right? But bottom line, if you are being compromised in a way, if your emotions, if something is not resonating, we'll say again with you during a conversation or an interaction with somebody, you do have every right to remove yourself. Are we here to love everybody on the planet? From a spiritual perspective, yes, because you come from love, you are love, and those adversaries are teaching you something as you are there for them as well. However, does it mean that you give up your ideals, your values? Yeah, exactly. Big no. That is not necessary. So you are also learning about that you see from that person. So we can say, well, do you be patient, forgive them, love them? From afar, yes, you can. But it does not mean that you need to make it right, make it happen, be that I don't know, that hero in a sense that says, I'm just going to forgive everything and everybody around me and just, be in love with everybody. Because you're also here with the ego and the pride and all of that you're learning about as well. So it is a fine line, it's a fine balance. Only you know the answer to that. But the main message I'm getting from our guides is you do not need to tolerate bad behavior or anything that goes against your grain. And you truthfully know it goes against your grain.
Oh.
Are they maybe triggering some things in you that you need to take a look at? Quite possibly. And then maybe to spend some time with it. But if it really is, I'm going to call bad behavior, then by all means, you're doing them a favor by stepping away, because that is also a message for them and an opportunity for them, some reflection back to them.
Exactly, exactly. And thanks for bringing that up. It's, I mean, I wrote a book about boundary setting, so
Oh, yeah.
it's always upper in my mind. And that doesn't
Mhm.
mean that I don't feel challenged from time to time, which I was telling Tammy about a situation, and that there is a fine line, and there are times when you have to pick and choose your battles and be flexible. And as I was saying to Tammy earlier, I said, that will never happen again to me the way it happened. It's not important. It was just a situation where somebody actually was highly worse than rude. They were attempting to humiliate me, and for a moment they did. And so it was like, whoa, that will never happen again. But um, it's interesting because I just posted. I've been so bogged down in other things that something always kind of slides. But I did a blog about setting boundaries in council culture, and it's fairly short for me. I don't know how I managed that, but it's so I just posted that on my website. So if you're interested in that's my theme. For sure, I'm all about boundary setting, but there are nuances, and there are it's a practice. It's forever and again a practice. And the one thing I will just I also tag on is that there is nowhere that you ever have to put up with being a doormat. It's unacceptable. So in my world, so
Absolutely.
I might sneeze. excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. I think spring is in the
Yeah, I
air.
was gonna say spring is almost springing.
I don't usually have any kind of allergies, but hey, anyway. So thanks.
Yeah.
It's always my favorite topic because boundaries are so pervasive in every aspect of your life
Mhm.
that and negative feelings, anger, resentment, overwhelm, stress, 99% of the time are a result of an inability to set a proper boundary and convey it. So if you're having anger, resentment, overwhelm, frustration, stress, it is so often because you need to set a boundary.
Yeah.
I call it prioritize and boundarize.
Mhm.
So
Love that. Well said. What's the name of your book since we're on that subject too, Julie?
it's called they're all the blue ones back here. Say no without guilt. How to set 6 steps to set and achieve confident boundaries. So thank you for asking. And yes, it's
Oh, sure.
Amazon. So yeah, that's predominantly the focus of all the text, but I do touch on other stuff as well that can really affect your boundaries. So
Yeah, that's great. No, that we're on that subject, we should be talking about your book then for sure, if anybody's interested in checking that out. Yeah, because that came up for a reason. So,
exactly.
but yeah, no, it is very important. And I think, depending how we're raised and so forth, some of us might be, raised with the idea that we're supposed to always, overlook bad behavior or, and I know what we're talking about, Julie. Yeah, because you teach more about the opposite of that, really setting your boundaries, and that is not absolutely necessary. Again, yes, you do have to weigh it a little bit. Like, am I being a little bit too, quick to judge or quick to be, am I too sensitive about something that I don't need to be? There's a lot of things you can ask yourself, but anytime there's conflict anyway, it's really an opportunity just to see what emotions are being triggered at that time so that you can address them for both parties, really.
For sure. Love it. Thank you so much. That was, yeah. I always feel like so many roads come back to boundaries. Any
Yeah.
kitties and what else is happening in the world and in your life?
Yeah. Well, I think the Mars rover thing is pretty cool. Can I just say?
Yeah, tell me about it because
Perseverance landing on Mars. Woohoo! I think that's awesome.
and what did I heard there was so I was so busy doing other things that I heard it was happening, but I didn't watch it. I was in the middle of other things. So
Yeah. Well, what's really cool about it, Julie, is they've got some really great images. And you get to hear the first, sounds we've ever heard from Mars, which is basically the wind gusts. It's very short. It's not very long. You hear a bit of the rover, and then that, I don't know if they silenced that or they did something to silence it more, but so you can hear just the wind gust. But I I think it's just amazing. And then we just had a good chuckle at my household because we're thinking like should be some comic strip where the rover, how everybody's celebrating the picture, as we well should be, by the way. I mean, everybody, the scientists in the room, and the panel, the whatever you call that room, if they're all in when it lands, and the excitement, right? Everybody could feel it. Control room, I don't know. And then if we could pan to like some aliens who have well surpassed us on some other planet of theirs next to theirs, like on the beach, or like have created this whole city. And I'm laughing because oh my god, it's great strides for us for sure, but I laugh about like where we're at, probably depending on what your beliefs are of extraterrestrial and all that. But anyway, we had a good laugh over that.
it doesn't even matter what your belief is.
Yeah.
The scientific odds are so great. There's like a gazillion universes that have suns and planets like we do. So there's no, it's not, is there life? It's how do we find it
Oh yeah,
in a
definitely.
lifetime that doesn't require, several hundred years of travel. But
Exactly.
it's for
Yeah.
sure out there. So
But it's fascinating. You all should check it out. I think I saw, well, it was live yesterday on space.com, I think it was, that they had a whole panelist of people talking about it. And then they showed the images and then all this stuff. But anyway, I don't know. I've always had a fascination with space, planets,
Too.
not in a scientific brainy way, because that's not me. But because my dad also was interested in that, and that was part of where he worked and so forth. But I think that love has always been there, that excitement of when certainly the first man on the moon, and you're remembering that as a child, and all of this. But it is pretty exciting stuff.
It's huge. It is so huge. And do you know how long it took to get there? Because I think it was years, right?
Well, for it to get there, I think was 7 months.
It was that all.
Yeah, so they'll be taking the samples, and if I heard this right, so I am, I'm not 100% on this, that it might be like in another 10 years where they either go get the samples that will be there, or something like that, where they then can bring it back. I could be wrong, but we may be learning things throughout anyway by just imaging and what they can do with the rover and all of that. But it is amazing. And I watching that also, I just really I have such respect for those people who are involved in all of that. And it takes that when you see them all together talking about it, that these people are so important. We're all important, I know that, but wow, I mean, something I would never have even dreamed of doing, nor could I do in this lifetime, or
Right.
what I choose to do, frankly. So I have great respect for our scientists and so forth, who are,
They're
whether
right.
it be the vaccine or whether it be going out in space, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Do I really am a science fiction geek. I really just
Mhm.
really love it. So I will go look for those pictures. There's a science fiction show called The Expanse, and I can't remember if it's on Amazon Prime, or I think it's on Amazon Prime or Netflix, one of the two. And so it takes place in a time where we have colonized, not just colonized Mars, but like there are generations now living on Mars. So it's it's a weird show. I mean, it took me like 5 episodes just to figure out what was going on, but
Yeah,
yeah,
sounds cool.
it's a I'm definitely a science fiction geek. So thanks for bringing
Yeah.
that up. It was good to hear.
Yeah.
To hear. So
I just thought it's something exciting. I have to share, once in a while I get those, I've said before, like, there's channeling where I'm tuning in. Then sometimes my guys will pop things in my head audibly that I hear more. And that is less than when I'm actually tuning in, opening up. But speaking of Mars, I will share this, that my guides not long ago, before actually I knew, you know what I mean, like of this whole thing of with the Mars, this is before that, but they said to me, just really loud, they said, "You're going to move to Mars."
I have a story to tell you in a minute, but go ahead. Yeah.
Really? Okay. And I said, "What?" And they said, I'm like, "Okay, obviously not this lifetime in this body." And they said, "Not necessarily, no, but I'm thinking it's either going to be out of body, and it could even be, sometimes my guides will not confuse, but they'll use the word move for like travel. And there's a big difference. So I often have to tell them, remember, moving to me means relocating.
Right.
Traveling means traveling. So try to be more specific on that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I did get, when I'm out of my body, which is no surprise, we'll be able to go everywhere. My father, who is in spirit, has told me that there's actually groups together that travel and go to different planets, and that he's done that. He even showed me then a visual of, like, imagine you go on a home tour, a house tour, right? And that's what it was. They were like traveling through, it's like they were allowed as a group, a group of travelers, right? To go and look into these homes of people in different planets. So are they physically there? Yes, they could be, but there are planets, I believe, that are, and many people would believe, really of a different dimension, that there is life on the planet. We just don't see it as human beings, but that there is, life going on. But anyway, I thought that was really fascinating. So
It
I
is.
I really paid attention because they dropped that one in my head very, very loud and clear. And I do have this fascination anyway. And that's why I wanted to watch some of that yesterday, because I know that, there's such a bigger picture of all of this and where we'll go with this and what's already happening out there of things we, again, as human beings are not privy to necessarily. Some are. Some are definitely privy to it. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to. So yeah, what were you going to say?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, I love that you say it that way, because dropped it in my head, because I get that too. And I'm like, and it's such an apt description. So I really appreciate it. I'm going to start using it because I get those things too. And it's very different than channeling, and it's very different than intuition. It's a literally like a phrase or a
Mhm.
concept or a word that they just drop in. It's
Yeah.
like, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
thought of a way to describe it, and that is so apt. So I did a meditation several years ago where instead of doing past life, it was what was a future life for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And my future life was one of one of them, or my next one, which is I heard is not going to be for about 400 years, is which I'm really okay with.
That's a nice long break, I think. Yeah.
Rest. um, was that I was going to come back as an important spiritual guide and leader on a satellite.
Interesting. Ooh.
So, a satellite that is built. I mean, 400 years is that'll be the norm. We'll just be building satellites all over the place, right? And I will be a spiritual advisor on
Awesome.
it was sort of half spiritual advisor, half politician, which okay,
Yeah.
has
I
its
can see
own
that for you.
interesting
Yeah.
limitations to it, right?
Yeah.
And I actually did that. I did a meditation for that twice, and I got the same exact thing twice. So I'm like,
That's awesome.
all righty then.
That's awesome. I've done that too, but I can't remember now. I can't remember. I've done over the years so many things where you check in with things on yourself, and I don't, if I don't write it down or something. But I remember looking at future, and I did have a picture as well that I'll have to revisit that. I don't remember now what it was, but it's fun to do that. And
It is. So if you're thinking about that, if this sounds of interest to you, sit down, do a little guided meditation or record it for yourself, or you can find one, I'm sure, anywhere on the internet, and allow yourself to do a guided meditation out to see what your next life will be, or one of your
Mhm.
next future life will be. I know I want to be cognizant of your time, Tammy. I know you have a client, and so any closing thoughts?
No, I would just add on to what you just said, Julie, that, Julie and I also, I guess I'll speak for myself. I'm assuming it's the same for you, but during sessions, clients will ask me those questions as well, like past life pictures and not as many future lifetimes, but I definitely can take a look at that for you in a session. So that is something to think about too, since we're on that subject, and Julie, probably the same for you. So, but I like your idea too of you can do a lot of those kind of visuals and work with yourself and to see what comes up for you. So yeah, it's exciting stuff.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing cat wise to report. They're all, I don't know, they've been a little, maybe it's spring and they want to go out. I don't know. Felix has got spring in his step and he bounces off the walls. And
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. It probably is a little of that.
he is. But anyway, so we're going to close. Thank you so much for joining us. You please send us your questions. We love them. We want
Yeah.
to respond to them. It gives us, I mean, we can talk about our stuff and ourselves, but we want to answer your questions too. So definitely put them either up on our YouTube channel. If you know us personally, you can send them to us personally. Mine, at the, you'll find us. You know how to find us, and yeah, look for Two Psychic Moms on our YouTube channel, Two Psychic Moms. And I know, well, I have my own other YouTube channel, which is Julie Hawkins, the Biz Psychic. And we also do private readings and a lot of stuff through Higher Healing. I know you guys did an event with Joan Staffen recently
Mhm.
where it was the pendulum. I couldn't make it. I had a client and it ran over, and anyway.
Yeah, we missed you. But yeah, that is a good thing to check out if you're interested in the pendulum and kind of what it's about and so forth. You can go on probably the Facebook page of Higher Healing would be best to find the event or any of our events. But yeah, they're free events like Julie's mentioned before, and they're worth checking out. So yeah, we're definitely open for sessions. We do love your questions. I will just echo that. We would love to have those. If you enjoy Two Psychic Moms, like and subscribe. That helps us out as well.
Yes.
So yeah. So anyway, well,
All right.
say a well, Auf Wiedersehen. I know that in German, but what's some of the other ones? Adios.
Ciao.
Ciao.
And I always say until next time,
Yes.
you're Two Psychic Moms, and we'll see you again real soon.
Blessings, everybody. Have a great week.